The man's painting the wall white. The painter's painting a picture. The woman's passing the document to the other woman. The man's passing you the remote control. The football player is passing the ball. The woman's paying attention to the teacher. The man's paying for something online with his credit card. The woman's paying the bill to the waiter. The man's paying the bill and is getting the change. The man's paying for a drink at the vending machine. The woman's peeling the carrot. The woman's peeling the potatoes. The woman's peeling the orange. The woman's phoning about a job advert she saw in the newspaper. The woman's phoning for roadside assistance because her car has broken down. The woman's phoning her friend. The golfer's picking up the golf ball. The crane's picking up the car. The people are picking up the litter in the park. The man's picking up the wallet. The hand's picking up the bowling ball. The man's playing the guitar. The pianist's playing the piano. The woman's playing the cello. The woman's playing the flute. The woman's playing the violin. The boy's playing the saxophone. The woman's playing the drums. The boys are playing basketball. The men are playing squash. The boys playing table hockey. The man and woman are playing table tennis. The family are playing baseball. The dog's playing chess. The woman's playing an arcade game. The man's pointing at the phone. The finger is pointing at you. The man's pointing at the flip chart. The woman's pointing at something on the map. The mechanic's polishing the car. The cleaners polishing the floor. The man's polishing his shoes. The waiter's polishing the wine glass. The woman's pouring a glass of water. The man's pouring olive oil over the salad. The woman's pouring milk into the bowl of cereal. The man's pouring a cup of tea. The man's posting a letter. The woman's preparing to go for a run. The two women are preparing dinner. The students are preparing for their exams. The young woman's praying in the church. The woman's pressing the car horn. The man's pressing the button on the remote control. The woman's pressing the keys on the keyboard. The man's pressing the flush button. The woman's pressing the on button. The woman's pulling the suitcase. The family are pulling the Christmas crackers. The man's pulling his colleague along the ground. The boy's pulling the girl's hair. The woman's pulling the elephant. The man's pushing the other man off the edge. The dog's pushing the shopping trolley. The man's pushing the big rock. The man's pushing the car. The father's pushing his son in the swing. The woman's reaching for her shoe under the table. The goalkeeper's reaching for the ball. The man's reaching for the life preserver. The girl's reaching for the book on the top shelf. The tennis player's reaching to hit the ball with the tennis racket. The woman's reading inside a huge book. The woman's reading her shopping list at the supermarket. The man's reading a newspaper. The dog's reading a book. The old woman's refusing to take the medicine. The horse is refusing to jump over the obstacle. The man's refusing to take the money or to be bribed. The woman's refusing to eat the hamburger. The workmen are repairing the computer. The reporters reporting the weather. The journalists reporting the news. The anchorman's reporting the news. Air Sea Rescue are rescuing the people on the boat. The superheroes rescuing the passengers in the plane. The superheroes rescuing the people in the car. The fireman's rescuing the child from the burning building. The knight's rescuing the princess from the evil dragon. The man's riding a bike down the mountain. The woman in the red dress is riding a horse on the beach. The man's riding a motorbike. The dog's riding a skateboard. The man with the suitcase is ringing the bell at reception. Santa Claus is ringing the doorbell. Someone's in for a big surprise. Your phone's ringing. It's your mum. The alarm clock's ringing and they don't want to get up. The man's ringing the buzzer. The phone's ringing. The caveman is very confused and puzzled. The golf ball's rolling into the hole. The billiard ball's rolling into the pocket. The girl's rolling the bowling ball. The businessman's rolling in his chair. The man's rolling a snowball. The man's rolling out the red carpet. The man's rolling the dice. The young boy's rubbing out the text. The man's rubbing his hands together. The young man's rubbing his eyes. He is very tired. The man's rubbing the woman's shoulders. The man's rubbing the magic lamp. The man's running to catch the bus. The woman's running up the stairs. The horse is running in the field. The people are running away from the monster. The boy's running away from the tornado. The boy's running to get to class. The paper sailing boat is sailing on the water. The football player is scoring a goal past the goalkeeper. The woman's scratching her wrist. The man's scratching his head. The woman's screaming. It's a scary movie. The businesswoman's screaming at the computer. The football player's screaming because of the pain in his leg. The superhero's screaming. He's afraid of mice. The young female fans are screaming at the pop star. The woman's shouting and screaming at the man. The waitress is serving the customers. The salesman is shaking hands with the customer. The tennis players are shaking hands after the match. The chef's shaking the frying pan. The man's shaking the bottle. The man's shaking because he is so cold. The man's shaving. The hairdresser is shaving the man's head. The man's shaving in front of the mirror. The boy's shooting into the goal. The thief is shoplifting and is stealing a pair of jeans. The man's signing the contract. The woman's signing for the delivery. The turtle's skateboarding with a rocket on its back. The skier's skiing downhill on his skis. The water skier is water skiing on the water. The cartoon cat is skipping with the skipping rope. The woman's sleeping at her desk. The dog's sleeping in the bed. The man is sleeping on the ground. The woman's sleeping on the photocopier. The man's slipping on a banana skin. The man's slipping on the wet floor. The woman's slipping on the ice. The woman's smelling the man's bad breath. The woman's smelling the perfume on her wrist. The woman's smelling something terrible and is holding her nose because of it. The chef's smelling the food. The man with a black hat on his head is smiling. The woman's smiling. The man's sneezing. The fast food worker is going to sneeze into the food. The woman's lying in bed sneezing because she has a cold. The woman's sneezing because she is allergic to the flowers. The man is sneezing and blowing his nose with a tissue. The boyfriend is snoring and the girlfriend is not happy. The businessman's sleeping and snoring at work. The man's spraying the flowers with water. The tractor's spraying fertilizer on the field. The sprinklers are spraying water onto the football pitch. The woman's spraying perfume on her wrist. The man's spraying the air with air freshener. The hairdresser is spraying the man's hair with water. The man's spraying the woman with the hose. The two boys are spraying each other with water. The man's squashing the orange. The woman's squashing the bottle. The woman's stealing the man's briefcase from behind the man's back. The man on the left is stealing the other man's idea. The thief is stealing the mobile phone from the man's back pocket. The thief is stealing money from the safe. The thief is stealing money from the woman's bag. The man's stirring the coffee. The witch is stirring the bubbling cauldron. The woman's stirring the soup in the pot. The bus is stopping at the red traffic lights. The woman's stroking the horse's head. The young woman is stroking her dog. The swimmer is swimming in the swimming pool. The mermaid is swimming under the water. The dolphins are swimming in the ocean. The rugby player is tackling the other rugby player. The woman's talking on the phone. The man's talking to a fortune teller. The women are talking and gossiping about him behind his back. The tour guide is talking to the tourists. The chef's tasting the food. The man's tasting the sauce off the wooden spoon. The teacher is teaching the students maths. The father's teaching his son how to play golf. The father's teaching his son how to ride a bike. The grandfather's teaching his grandson how to play chess. The chef's thinking about what to make for dinner. The man's thinking about going on holiday. The dog's thinking about a bone. The woman's thinking about what to write. The man's thinking about the future. The boy's thinking about his next move. The boy's throwing a stone into the water. The man's throwing the basketball. The man's throwing the dart. The boy's throwing the frisbee. The businessman's throwing a paper airplane. The woman's throwing a snowball at the man. The baby's touching the hot iron. The woman's touching her toes. The hand's touching the water. The plane's traveling around the world. The woman's traveling by train. The men are traveling by bus. The people are traveling by bike. The couple are traveling by boat. The man's traveling by plane. The man's turning the steering wheel to the right. The man's turning the steering wheel to the left. The woman's turning on the tap. The woman's turning on the microwave. The woman's switching on the microwave. The man's turning on the laptop. The man's switching on the laptop. The girl's turning off the light. The girl's switching off the light. The woman's turning off the alarm clock. The woman's switching off the alarm clock. The girl's turning around. The hand's turning the key in the lock. The man's tying his black shoes. The man's tying his tie. The woman's unpacking her suitcase after returning home from holiday. The man's unpacking the box. The daughter's visiting her mum to have a chat. The couple are visiting their family for Christmas. The man's vomiting into the toilet. The man is being sick into the toilet. The man's vomiting money. The man's voting in the Scottish election. The woman's waiting for a bus at the bus stop. The cars are waiting in traffic. The man's waiting for the phone to ring. The people are waiting for the job applicant to arrive. The people are waiting to see the doctor. The man's waiting for his flight. The couple are walking through a dark tunnel. The supermodel's walking down the catwalk. The businesswoman's walking over the businessman. The man's walking on a tightrope. The man's washing the plates in the kitchen. The man's washing his face. The man's washing his clothes. The woman's washing her hands. The hairdresser is washing the woman's hair. The man's watching television. The people are watching a play at the theatre. The security guard is watching the security cameras. The man's watching a movie at the cinema. The couple are watching the sunrise. The mother is warning her son about his bad behavior. The teenager is weighing herself on the weighing scales. The flight attendant is weighing the luggage. The woman's weighing the peppers at the supermarket. The post office is weighing the package. The baker's weighing the flour. The girl's whispering something to her friend about another girl. The girl's whispering the answer to the boy.